Picking up in Exodus chapter 30, verse 1, and today we're going to look at the Altar of Incense, and we're also going to look at the Bronze Laver. Now, I want to do a visual. I want to do an overhead. Julie, can you count me again? You're the unfortunate person who has to keep getting the lights. It's only because you sit up there by the front door. So today we're going to look at the Altar of Incense, and this was a small item that sat right in front of the veil. Right behind it would have been the Ark of the Covenant. And the altar of incense, there was incense that was burned on it every day by the priests. And it would have measured 18 inches by 18 inches across, square. And it would have been 36 inches in height. And it would have had poles. It was made of acacia wood and overlaid with gold. And there were 4 horns. These are what's called the horns of the altar. And here it shows the blood. And the blood was applied to the horns of the altar every year on the Day of Atonement. This was done by the high priest. But it was not a very large item. I mean, you can imagine 18 inches by 18 inches is not very, very wide as far as the square, and 36 inches high. By the way, it would have been taller than the table of showbread. Remember, the table of showbread had the 12 loaves of bread that were replaced every week. And then, of course, the menorah was the lampstand, and it was the only source of light for the tabernacle, and it had oil that was placed in there, daily, that would have been tended to by the priest morning and evening. And this would have given certain smells. I mean, when you walk into the tabernacle, you would have smelled the oil burning from the incense, you would have smelled the bread from the table of showbread, and you would have smelled the incense burning on the altar. So this would have been a place that would have had a variety of smells to it when you walked in there. Here's a couple different artist renditions. Here's the high priest in his high priestly garb, and here's an example of what the altar of incense might have looked like as he's offering up the incense. Here's another picture, and notice they show it here in front of the veil. Again, this would have been where it would have been located, directly in front of the veil. And by the way, when the high priest came in Leviticus 16, when he would have opened the curtain to go into the Holy of Holies, when he would have applied the blood, remember on the Day of Atonement, when he would have applied the blood on the top of the Ark of the Covenant, on the mercy seat, he would have opened the curtain, and the smoke from the altar of incense would have gone in front of him. But again, this gives us a visual. It gives us an idea, again, of what this item would have looked like. Here's the layout again of the tabernacle itself. Here's the veil that separated the Ark of the Covenant. And again, this is the altar of incense. And it would have been stationed, again, directly in front of the veil here. Over here we have the menorah and the table of showbread, and this would have been the entrance into the tabernacle itself. So, again, we have these 3 items here with the altar of incense placed directly in front of the veil, and the Ark of the Covenant back here. So, again, just giving us an idea of where these items would have been located inside the tabernacle. Next, we move to the Bronze Laver. Now, the Bronze Laver was positioned in the courtyard. And by the way, we don't know exactly what it would have looked like. You have different ideas of how deep it was. Notice this one here appears to be somewhat shallow. These ones appear to be a little bit, have a little more depth to them. Notice this little figure here they have of the priest. Notice he's white with his little colored sash here. So they're getting some of the ideas right when they're doing some of the garments here. And again, we're going to look at the Bronze Laver. Now, the Bronze Laver is here. It's situated between the bronze altar that was used for sacrifice and the tabernacle. So when you're coming into the tabernacle courtyard here, you would have entered in and you would have seen the priest here. You would have seen the altar for sacrifice. You would have seen the Bronze Laver, and the priests would have washed their hands and their feet here before going inside of the tabernacle. Now remember, again, the priests are here in the courtyard, and what are they doing? They're sacrificing the animals. And they're wearing the white garments, so there would have been blood There would have been ashes. There would have been dirt. Again, think of a butcher. Next time you're in the supermarket and you peer through the window and you see the butcher with the white apron and there's blood on his apron. Again, that's kind of what I imagine. How dirty their garments must have gotten. And then there would have been the certain smells of the flesh cooking. Again, I think of a barbecue, the smell of flesh cooking. So there would have been certain aromas. But again, when you walk in, this is the layout of it, the way you would have seen it. You would have seen the altar here. You would have seen the place where sacrifices were made. And then the bronze altar. So they would have had to wash their hands and their feet. And then they would have gone inside of the tabernacle here. And so again, this is the layout of how it would again been set up. Here's just a different picture of it. Again, with the altar for sacrifice here, the bronze laver, and then going inside of the tabernacle. So again, just so that we have this visual in our minds. Would you grab that light for me, please?